Hi, Allegra here with your Beyond Your Wildest Dreams live broadcast slash podcast. If you're watching this live, wherever you're watching it, just so you know, you can always listen to the recording, which is the Harness the Power of Planning podcast, wherever you listen. And it is Thursday, April 17th. I'm so happy to be here with you today. And if you're joining me for the first time, then you know that I'm all about helping you prioritize yourself and your goals with brain science backed tips that are actionable because I love a good book, but sometimes I get frustrated when I read a 300-page book that has nothing actionable in it. If you're like me, you understand. So all 4 of my workbooks are short. They're designed to be read in 45 minutes to an hour, and they're all actionable. You're going to learn something and you're going to implement it right away because the brain science shows that that's how you learn best is by doing. And we all see it with kiddos. They don't learn just from books. They learn to speak by you speaking to them. They learn to, cook because they see you cooking. Humans are excellent mimics. Probably lots of animals are excellent mimics because that's how we learn. And so my books are designed to help you do the activity, not just think about the activity. And today I am so excited to be here today for my 101 episode. If you didn't watch last week's episode, give it a watch. It was so good because I call this podcast Harness the Power of Planning because I believe that planning is what makes things possible, that you can't even start if you don't have a plan. And so the 100th episode was all about me explaining the mental process of planning as applied to a goal that I have been working towards for the last 2.5 years, which was to produce my own stand-up comedy show. And my friends, I had 3 of my friends on the episode with me, and they each told me about something that they were working towards, some which are very easy to break down into steps because they were goals that you could easily describe. And one of my friends one of them had a health goal and one had a earning goal. And then one of my friends had a goal that was not so easily contained. It was about her goal was raising resilient kids. And so we talked about that, how you would break down a goal that is a little more ephemeral, such as a goal like that. So check out episode 100 wherever you listen, or you can also find it on my website. If you go to bywdreams.com and then wait for it to load and then just add a slash and the number 100, you will get episode 100. It was so much fun. It was so great. And I think it was so instructive. So today's 101 episode, I'm going to talk about self-care through camping. I love to camp because I find that 2 or 3 days camping feels like a 2-week vacation anywhere else. And I'm going to talk about why I think that is in a moment. But first, as for those of you who join me regularly, you know that I've been pulling a quote from this deck of quotes that I have here and talking about it. So let's see what today's quote is. Whatever you're ready for is ready for you. Mark Victor Hansen. That's the Chicken Soup for the Soul author. Whatever you're ready for is ready for you. Oh, God, I love that quote. Sometimes the thing you're waiting for can be sitting right in front of you, and you just don't even notice it until you're ready and you look at it from a slightly different angle. For instance, so you saw that I have these 4 short books, and these are all based on workshops and trainings that I do in people's businesses, actually. So if you ever want me to come and do my productivity workshop 3, 2, 1 done, I can do that for you. So they're all really easy to tackle topics in a short book. However, I also have a 6-session course called Harness the Power of Planning. Same name as this podcast. That is not an accident. And that course is much more all-encompassing when it comes to planning your life. It's all about, we call it life design, right? So in order to have the life you want, you first have to plan for it. But we get that life, and by we, I'm encapsulating my frequent collaborator, Natascha, who is the co-author on these books. My friend Natascha and I, we know that these sometimes you need to have a little bit of time before you can think about your life design. That's why we wrote 3, 2, 1 done, because our students were saying, God, I loved your idea about coming up with my values, but I feel like I just don't even have the brain power to think about that. What can I do to make space to do that higher level thinking? And that's when we came out with this book. And it's true. Actually, studies have shown that if you're caught in the day-to-day thinking, if you're constantly just your face is in your to-do list, you don't have the capacity to do the higher level, more creative thinking that's required for something like life design. And then the other thing too is people were saying to us, oh my gosh, spending time thinking about just what I need. Like, I don't even have time to brush my teeth or take my supplements. And that's when we wrote our Rock Your Morning book, which is all about getting your self-care in first thing in the morning, again, to free up your brain so that you have the capacity to do the more creative, longer term thinking that is required for life design. So for a long time, I've thought about doing Harness the Power of Planning as a book. And so this comes back to the quote from Mark Victor Hansen: whenever you're ready, whatever you're ready for is ready for you. So I've thought for a long time that I would like to do a book version of Harness the Power of Planning, but I just don't know how I would do it, because I think that book would be like an encyclopedia, and it just wouldn't be as intuitive to apply as these short workbooks are. And then I read a book that has that is kind of like Harness the Power of Planning in terms of themes, but it's told in a story format. So these books are kind of typical, DIY how-to books. They're very straightforward. Like, do this thing and you will get this result. Life design is not so neat. And so I realized that telling it in the form of a story could be a really good idea. And I've read that, so that genre of writing is called nonfiction narrative. I've read so many nonfiction narrative books, like The Alchemist, The Celestine Prophecy, There Was Just Man in Babylon. I've read all those books, and I don't know why. I mean, I read The Celestine Prophecy over 30 years ago. I don't know why I didn't have this idea earlier, because I've been thinking about Harness the Power of Planning as a book for years, but I guess, to go back to the quote, I just wasn't ready. And now that I'm ready, I saw the solution and I've started writing it, and I already have 50 pages of this nonfiction narrative that encapsulates the ideas of Harness the Power of Planning. And if you've heard the origin story of Beyond Your Wildest Dreams, then you kind of know the path that this book is going to take, because Beyond Your Wildest Dreams was born out of a few people, and Natascha was one of them, a few people asking me, how is it that you do the things that you do? Meaning, how do you homeschool your child? How do you have a business? How do you make time to do things that are important for you, like stand-up comedy? How do you do all of those things? And that's really what it was born out of. And so that's how the story begins in this book that I'm writing. So if you happen to know of any agents or publishers in this space, let me know, because this girl right here is looking for one of those for this new book that I'm writing. Okay, so let's talk about camping and camping and self-care. And by the way, I do have a free printable for you on camping. So if camping is something that sounds interesting to you, but maybe you're intimidated by it, well then go to this URL here, subscribepage.com/camping. That's subscribepage.com/camping, subscribepage.com/camping. And you can sign up there for our top 10 list of tips for camping, as well as health reasons why you might want to consider camping, and also packing lists for camping. Now, I just want to give you a little bit of caveat, which is the packing lists are all about what is known as quote unquote car camping. So car camping is where you pull up to a camping site and you camp straight out. You set up a tent, but you don't have to hike in or hike out. So that's backpack camping. So this is car camping. So I just want to give you that caveat. If you're looking for a packing list for backpack camping, that is not this list. But when you go to this site, subscribepage.com/camping, you'll see that we mentioned 3 health benefits of camping. 1, it improves mood. Nature provides a break from digital overstimulation. 2, improves sleep. Exposure to sunlight and removal of artificial light resets your body clock, which improves sleep. And 3, breathe easier. Air pollution triggers asthma, and indoor air pollution can even have higher levels of pollution than quote unquote fresh city air. Yes, it's true. If you, especially like office buildings without operable windows, the air in there can be less clean than the air outside. So anyway, camping is wonderful, and I did not grow up camping. So if you're like, I didn't grow up camping, I can't do it. Let me just tell you, you can do it, because the first time I ever went camping was in college. I was introduced to camping by friends in college, and we always did car camping. We never did backpack camping. And literally from the first time I did it, I just found it to be incredibly relaxing. Now, I've mentioned this before. I studied anthropology in undergrad, and one of the classes that I took was about the psychology of our environments and how humans evolved to just like certain things. So, for instance, some of these will probably seem obvious. Anthropologists hypothesize that we like views because a view gives you a sense of safety. It means you can scan a big area and you can see all the potential dangers that might make you anxious. And that is why views are so relaxing, because when you are able to scan the horizon and not see anything that is dangerous to you, your anxiety is lower. Anthropologists also hypothesize that that's also part of why humans just love water features. We love fountains, we love a pond, we love a babbling brook, because for one thing, that is again a sense of safety, because it's a barrier between you and anything that's approaching, like a moat, if you will. However, it also provides water, which is something that humans need. And so any anxiety about where you're going to get your next drink of water is done. And it also provides you with food a lot of times, if there's, fish in there or water plants that you can eat. So it's a source of comfort in many ways for humans. And then finally, fires. We all love a fireplace, a campfire, a fire pit, bonfire. We like them all. And again, it goes back to how we were designed. Humans, don't have thick fur coats, and maybe not everyone has access to animal hides to provide as clothing. And so fire is a way to stay warm. It's also a way to cook food to make it easier to digest, or to even make things edible that might not have been edible normally. And of course, it provides a deterrent for certain animals that might hunt us. So a fire might help to keep bigger predators away from us. And so again, this is all about relieving anxiety, because you feel safe and you feel secure and fed, or thirst quenched in those 3 episodes. So I think that part of why camping is so relaxing is because it just hooks on to all of this really early programming that is embedded as us as humans. And hey, Natasha.
Hi. Sorry, it's been a slow morning. Getting, I don't know what happened with the link. It sent me different places, but here I am now. Hi.
Oh no. Okay. So I was just explaining why I believe camping is such a great reset, because it just clicks into all of these things that we evolved as humans to like. We like fire, we like a view, we like water. And so in all those
Stars.
ways, The
Mm-hmm.
stars, exactly, the stars. It's just so relaxing. So I invited Natascha to be
Mm-hmm.
on this podcast because we actually just got back from a camping trip that we went on together.
Yeah, I finally got the campfire smell out of my hair, which I love actually. So I didn't wash my hair yesterday. I'm like, one more day. I love it. I love
Right.
smelling that. So I just got out of the shower, about a half hour ago. And the thing is too, how about our kids? Like, how about, the kids that you would think you're like, oh, they're teenagers, they're not that much into it anymore or something. Like when they were younger, it was a novelty. But no, they absolutely love it. And it's a reset for them too, like in a big way. They
They
loved
love it,
it.
and I also too, I want something I wanna say, so as I was saying about, our programming as humans and why there's so many parts of camping that just speak to us, I feel like the quality of our conversation around the campfire was so different. Like, it was just
Mm.
I felt like we felt looser, we felt sillier, we felt I don't know, we were having such great conversations around the
Mhm.
campfire, and some of it was we were both of our families like playing games, and we did play some games, but then we were just enjoying the campfire, and at one
Mhm.
point, someone suggested playing a
Mhm.
game, and someone else said, "Oh, but I wanna be around the fire," so then we decided to play 2 truths and a lie,
Mm.
and I have to say it was
So
so
fun.
hilarious. I wrote down so many quotes from that game into my planner. For those of
Did
you
you?
for those of you who follow me, you know that I use my planner kind of as a mini scrapbook, and so I like to capture memories. And let's just say that Natasha's 11-year-old figures prominently in my in my favorite quotes from this camping trip. Oh my gosh. We were playing
Oh
2
my
truths
god.
and a lie, where you tell 2 truths and 1 lie, and everyone has to guess which is the lie. And the way we played, because obviously families, they know all your lies and all your truths. So the way we played was that you could only get points on the other family's 2 truths and a lie, but we were playing
Yeah.
individually.
Be too easy otherwise.
Yeah, it'd be 2. So that's how we
Yeah.
worked that out, and it was hilarious because so there were a number of 2 truths and a lie where the 11-year-old, let's call the 11-year-old E, where E just did not know who the person was. He was like, "Who's Mandy Moore? Who's Laird Hamilton?"
Yeah.
You know?
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's right. And my favorite was when he was like, your husband said something about going on a boat ride with a Navy SEAL, and he was like, they let seals into the
No,
Navy.
no, 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 he said, "That's absolutely the lie, because SEALs cannot be in the
Oh,
Navy."
be in the Navy. Yeah,
Yes. That was
so
the
cute.
best. And we're all like, "No, no, no, there are Navy SEALs." He's like, "What do you" he's looking at us all like we're all crazy, like, "There are
Yeah,
n"
he's like, you guys are lying. Yeah, it was really cute. Yeah. Yeah, who's Mandy Moore? There was somebody else I
Laird
can't remember
Hamilton.
that we mentioned too. He's like, who's that? Oh, Laird Hamilton, right? Yeah.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
like, who's that?
Who is that? So, I have
Hmm.
to say that one of the things I'm taking away from the camping trip is I wanna do more sitting around a fire with my family.
Mm,
Just, making it
hmm.
happen because you don't always need to sit around a fire in Southern California. However, there are ways
Mm-mm.
to have, like, a small fire that is, safe and doesn't put
Oh,
off
for
a
sure.
ton of heat. So, that's something that I've decided that I wanna bring back because I just was really enjoying the hanging out around a fire. I felt like it was different in some way.
Mhm.
That was one of
Yeah,
the
because the conversation, like you said,
Yes.
is different, but also it invites those quiet moments too, because it's not an awkward silence, right? You're all just mesmerized by the flickering flames or the glow of the coals, and it's just like a collective moment. So there's silence inside of it too that doesn't feel like, oh, somebody should say something, right?
Right.
So I love it too, and it is mesmerizing, where like the ebb and flow of the conversation feels really natural, and those silent moments are actually quite nice and profound even
M
sometimes.
Yes. And you learn things. I mean, Natasha and I have known each other for over a decade now, and I think we still learned things on this trip that we didn't know about each other. So, partially because of you truth and lie, and partially just because of, you just have these long periods of time to just talk.
Right. There's just things to learn. And one thing that was not new that I already knew is that we both love to put on some some spa masks and relax. And that
Yes.
was genius that you brought those along.
Yeah, so I love to do spa masks, and the thing about where we were camping is we were in the desert, and it's very dry in the desert. And I had thought, God, it'd be great to do a mask in the desert. And I was like, well, why don't we? There's nothing stopping me
Mhm.
from doing a
Mhm.
mask in the desert. And so I just want to put a plug out there for the Sephora coconut mask. I love that it's a natural fiber.
What?
There's no plastic
I don't
backing.
know.
It's a natural fiber, and I love the quality of the coconut. I mean, I feel like it's not even a serum because it feels much more like there's a lot of oil content in it.
Mhm.
And so on our last night, Natasha and I took the camp chairs, moved them away from where everyone was, and so we were almost in total darkness. We put on our sheet masks. We looked up at the stars, and I played my skincare meditation playlist that I have. And by
Yeah, I
skincare,
seriously never want to go camping without that. That was so amazing.
and
It was so amazing.
And just to
Go
clarify,
on,
when I
sorry.
say skincare meditation, it's because I treat my skincare routine as an opportunity to be mindful. So that's why I call it skincare meditation. So thank goodness I own those songs because there's no Wi-Fi or anything out where we were. So I was able to play the music, and
Right.
we had the mask, and we looked at the stars,
Mhm.
and it was I'm
It was,
I'm definitely doing that
yeah.
again
I mean,
every
talk
time.
about a moment of, oh my gosh, it was so amazing. First of all, y'all, like I just have normal, regular camp chairs, upright camp chairs. Allegra's family brings those Tommy Bahama chairs that can lay down basically into like a 3/4 cot. So, we were laying down super comfortably. And at one point, I just got this urge to like take my socks and shoes off and put my feet on the ground and do some earthing. And it was just amazing. Eyes closed, listening to the music, open your eyes, just, of the view of the dark sky with all those diamond stars were just, it was extraordinary. It was, and I never want to camp without some kind of a sheet mask again, and a relaxing meditation playlist ready to go at any time.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, it
so
was
great. I had
amazing.
never done it before, and now I'm like, the quote today was, "Whatever you're ready for is ready for you." And I was thinking about, like, I could have done a sheet
Mm,
mask in the desert at any
mm,
time, but for some reason, I wasn't ready
mm,
for it until now. And now I'm like, absolutely, this is gonna be
mm.
on every single one of my camping adventures. So that was really fun. And yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned the Tommy Bahama chair. By the way, I'll put links to all these things in the show notes because I have to say the other good thing that's really great about this Tommy Bahama camping chair is that it also acts like a dog bed. So our dog loves to sit.
It was perfect for her.
Yeah, it's perfect for her, and it's easier to fold up than some of the
Hmm.
other camping bed options for dogs. So highly recommend this chair. That link will be in there. And then the other great thing that was about camping with a friend is that you know that if you forgot something, they have it, and if they forgot something, you have it, which
Hmm.
happened numerous times. But
Sure, 100%. It was great.
the other great thing was you get to learn from what the other people do. So Natasha does this great thing. Can you explain about the recycling and also the laundry?
Oh, yeah. I think I found just these little pop-up bins that you can find at the 99-cent store, which doesn't exist anymore, but Dollar Tree or Dollar King. And I'd seen this on Pinterest years ago when I was just trying to find little camping hacks. Back in the day when I had to lay down at night with my son so before he'd fall asleep, I'd scroll through Pinterest and look for camping hacks.
Yeah.
And that was one of these little pop-up hampers. And the idea is that you just take one of those 13-gallon kitchen bags and I just use, you can use all kinds of clips. I just use, clothing line
Clothespins.
clips. What are those called?
Mhm.
Clothespins. Thank you.
Mhm.
I'm like, there's a different word for that. And instead of going ahead and pinning it to all four sides of the hamper, I just leave one side off so that it kind of acts as like a two bin system. And so we put the recycling on one side and put the garbage, of course, in the garbage bag. And this way it kind of just keeps it separate. Just so happened that at Joshua Tree, they do have recycling available to you. So we went ahead and used that and got rid of it before we left the park. But we're kind of we'll take the recycling home with us and recycle it at home if they don't have it at the sites themselves. So it's just a great way to kind of keep it separate. Also to manage your garbage in a way too, because there's always a dumpster where you can get rid of it, and this way it doesn't, you're able to get rid of the garbage bag pretty easily and not have to sort through it if you do want to keep your recycling. And then of course I just use a hamper inside the tent as well, because if you camp with kids, like my kids, like if they don't, the socks, the underwear will just be all over the place. Even if I've said for years, I've been like, hey, this pouch of the bag of our suitcase is going to be for dirty clothes. Never winds up in there. So I just use one of these pop-up hampers, and then we come home and just drag it right to the washing machine, and everything goes right in. And they're really easy to pack, obviously, back into your car and just smush them down. It's really very simple.
It was so great, especially where we were located, because there weren't a lot of, usually when I'm camping somewhere with more trees, we will hang a plastic bag in a tree, on a tree limb,
right,
partially to keep critters from getting into your trash. And so I've never gotten the habit of having any sort of container for them, and this worked so great for the recycling. Yeah, that was super smart.
We've done that too. Yeah, hang it up or tape it to the end of because that's the other thing too, is like I do go ahead and secure it to the handle of our cooler, because that, as you can imagine, a light bag like a hamper bag could easily blow away, and that kind of thing. And of course, at night they take the whole hamper and just put it right in the car, so that keep those critters away. Keep the garbage.
Oh, is that what you did with it? I didn't even notice. You put it in the car at night.
Yeah. I put it in the car at night. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, just to keep it, because that's definitely a critter magnet for sure.
Yeah. The other thing too, a camping tip, and you might think like one of the challenging things is the packing itself. Definitely, it's worth the trouble of decanting as much as you can into containers that are the right size. So for ketchup, I literally put it in a tiny ketchup bottle that I got one time when we were dining out, that I've just kept it. I put ketchup in there. For mustard, I put it in one of those teeny little jam jars that you sometimes get at restaurants. So keep those little glass jars, because they're so great for the little portions of things that you need. Because when you if you bring the whole thing, then your car is going to be so full, you're not going to have room for anything else. So you have to decant and then pre-mix as much as possible. Natascha even pre-mixed her omelet, which I've never done that before. She cracked all of her eggs and then
Yeah, totally. Since we don't travel with eggs, like it's, and then I just fill it up into one of those. It's really one of those shake, those powder shake kind of containers.
Right, like a protein
people put powder
shake.
in, and right, exactly. And I label it eggs just in case somebody thinks it's something to drink.
Right.
That's raw eggs, make sure I label it. Do the same thing with our maple syrup. We have like a giant maple syrup container at home. I just go ahead and put it in a smaller water bottle. Same idea. And then anything at all, also, normally I wouldn't bring boxes with us too. Like, I would take things out of boxes and just bring the bag of, my kids love Cheez-Its, so bring the bag of Cheez-Its. Normally I'd do that too, but since we're camping with a fire and stuff, we can use that as fuel. So we can, throw
great
that
kindling.
on the fire. Plus it helps it from getting crushed, obviously too, but often I'll do that too, where I'll take things out of the boxes and not bring the boxes. The boxes take up a lot of room, but since we were, this wasn't like a super intense camping situation where, we're going to be away from civilization for, a week or whatever. I decided to just keep things in boxes, but that's another thing that I usually do as well.
Yeah. And then I'm actually going to update my camping list, because so again, if you go to subscribepage.com/camping, you can get Natascha and I's camping lists for car camping, but they were packing lists, and the packing list doesn't have some of these little tips that we're talking about. So I'm going to add them to my camping list just so that you can capture some of these, because another one that is a great one. And actually this is in the 10 tips that you'll get, 10 camping tips that you'll get when you sign up at subscribepage.com/camping. But the best fire starters ever, the best kindling ever is absolutely the lint, dryer lint placed into
Yeah.
paper towel rolls or toilet paper rolls. Genius.
Mhm.
The only caveat is don't stuff
Amazing.
them too
Yeah.
full. If you stuff them too full, then no oxygen can
Right.
get in there. But you'll never need to buy
Yeah.
fire starters again.
That's what No, they're amazing. Yeah, I do that. We do it all the time. We brought a bunch with us. I guess you guys used them because I never saw you start the fire, but do you? Yeah, we brought a bunch with us as well, but we never got to use them because you were started so great.
Well, yeah, because we had
So
ours too,
they
right?
worked
Like, so
out
you and
great.
I both had those
Hmm.
things
Yeah.
because we both do that. But,
Hmm.
yeah, so,
Hmm.
camp with friends, camp with family, people that you think you already know. You will deepen those relationships, and then it's such a great opportunity to just have a reset for you. I know, Natasha, you have to go, so if you have to jump off, no problem.
I do, yeah. And
Um,
I'm sorry to come late and leave early, but I do have to run.
no
And it was
problem.
such an
I'm wrapping
amazing
it up.
weekend. And I'm so looking forward. I was telling my husband about it, and I was like, babe, and we laid out under the stars with the masks on, and we could still hear the kids, but it was mostly the music. Yeah, it was wonderful. We had just the best time. So looking forward to the next trip.
Absolutely. Bye.
See
Thanks
you
for
guys.
joining.
Bye bye.
Bye. So, to get the full packing lists and to get all of the tips on camping, go to subscribepage.com/camping. Hopefully, our enthusiasm for it has encouraged you to try it out. You know, I would suggest that if you're camping for the first time, pick a place that is 1 to 2 hours away max so that if something unexpected happens, it's easy to get home. We have been camping. I have been camping now for 30 years. I've been on, I don't know, maybe 100 camping trips at this point, quite a few. And I think only twice have we had to turn around. But we have had to do it twice, and we were grateful both times that we were kind of in that 1 to 2 hour range. We have camped further away. My husband and I actually did our first backpack camping trip last year, which was super fun. And it was much further away than 1 to 2 hours. And fortunately, we were going with people who had camped many, many times before. So we kind of trusted that anything unexpected they'd help us deal with. So that was good. But yeah, give it a try. It is so relaxing. Take some card games, maybe bring a board game if you want to. I always bring a little something to draw with because I like to draw when I'm out there. Maybe bring a book and just relax and enjoy the opportunity to not I don't wanna say do nothing because it's not that you're not doing nothing, but you're just recentering, reconnecting, remembering what's important, the people that you enjoy, being outside, getting in some movement, and allowing your body to get back onto the natural circadian rhythms of sunrise and sunset. So I encourage you to check it out. And as you know, planning makes everything easier. So go to subscribepage.com/camping and get our downloadable packing list there. And you will be halfway towards being ready for that camping trip. Thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to rate and follow my podcast wherever you might listen. I appreciate that. It's an easy way for you to show your support for the show. If the content here has been useful or interesting in any way, I appreciate a star rating and a follow. And if you're interested in taking your planning journey to the next level, we do have limited spaces available for our online on-demand course, the Harness the Power of Planning course at tinyurl.com/HPOP on demand. That's HPOP, like Harness the Power of Planning on demand. And you can take the course at your own pace, but there are limited spots available. So I think there's only like 20 spots available. So check it out and you can take your planning to the next level. Thank you so much for joining me. I will